Hello everybody, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to do something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, which is untangling chords. It has a kind of symbolic meaning to me, because, life sometimes can get a bit of a mess, and all you have to do is really untangle it to straighten it out again. But that requires some care, thought, and attention. And I wanted to treat you to that today. So this ball of yarn that I've deliberately tangled up, not gonna lie, we're going to untangle this in today's video. And hopefully we'll get some nice sounds out of it too. How's that? Okay. There we go. It all starts with a single step. There we have it. It's the first piece of yarn. A thread. I think we should call it thread. This isn't really yarn. Just gonna put a knot in that to keep it from unraveling as we untangle it. Okay, there we go. Just gotta make sure we keep it in frame. There we go. Okay. This kind of reminds me of my earbuds. I once heard somebody say that they had pocket gnomes. Pocket gnomes who tangled up their earbuds. Just kind of funny because it's true, I don't have any wireless earphones just yet, and this is something I do on a daily basis. Look at that. It's already about a meter worth of yarn. Thread. I'm so sorry. And it's the mundane tasks that usually make for very, very good ASMR, I find. This is going way better than I expected, so I think that maybe we'll have time to do 2 of these. We'll get to make a knot all over again. A little space in there. seems like what was once an impossible task is already finished with the slightest of ease. That's one untangled knot for you. So what I'd like to try now is imitate those pocket gnomes that usually terrorize our earphones by putting this in my pocket the way I would with my headphones. Just sort of like this. This feels natural, right? You can just fold up the string in a way that would make it feel like, once you take it out of your pocket again, would be in one piece the way you put it in. There we go. That's in my pocket. And what do I feel in my pocket as I'm trying to put the string in? My earphones. This was not scripted, but there you go. See? Oh. Suddenly I'm starting to see why this goes bad so often. It's the actual buds themselves that find little loopholes to get themselves stuck in. So this is how I would fold up my earphones. Just like that. Just for the purpose of this video, I'm going to tangle the string in my pocket as much as I can before taking it out again. See just how messy we can make something before we can straighten it out again. Kind of feels like restarting a video game after finishing it. After you've finished every side quest, you defeated every boss, it seems like you maybe lost a little part of yourself. And the little meaning that was given to your life for the duration of the game turns out to be, expandable. So what do? We restart a game and we see if we can untangle the mess we've made again. I don't mean that in a negative way, by the way. It's just that, video games do have a tendency to emulate real life in a more elegant, straightforward, approachable way. That's just me rambling. And it's not that your life doesn't have meaning. It does. It really does. But as soon as you're done with a straightforward approach of a storyline that can be beaten, and you get back to real life, you realize that, it's messy. And it can be tough to get up and deal with it again. And I guess what I'm trying to show you here is that it's very hard to mess up something so bad that you cannot fix it. Okay? But you know what? Again, for the purpose of this video, we're going to try. So to get back to video games, I had the experience that I was talking about of restarting a video game because I didn't want to deal with things going on in my life. Quite a lot of times. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Far Cry series, but yeah, they're games about getting dropped off on some distant world, some faraway place at least, like a tropical island or a mountain region, and fighting yourself out of it. And the whole way through, NPCs or non-playable characters that you encounter throughout the world will tell you what a good job you're doing and what a hero you are, and that got really addicting for me, especially with Far Cry. So I've played Far Cry 4 and Far Cry 3, but especially Far Cry 4 hundreds of times. Literally, I could start the game and immediately know the best way to finish it, which was a strange experience, a very linear one. But I found some comfort in the idea that that was something that I was really good at, and I chose the idea of succeeding over actually succeeding, which is unhealthy. More recently, I've had the same experience with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but that went differently because I am now in a place in my life where I do feel very comfortable with the things that I do and the way that I do them. But still, some of that unhealthy kind of, how would you call it, obsession with beating a game, that came back to me. Especially when I, in Legend of Zelda, encountered the first boss. Because Legend of Zelda is a kind of game that doesn't really tell you what to do or how to do them. It just drops you in a world and tells you to go and figure it out. So that's what I did until I encountered the first boss. And this first boss kicked my butt many, many times. And I was so frustrated. And it was 2 a.m. and I had to go to work the next day, but I was still trying to beat this boss. Until I gave up in the end, in a fit of rage, but not actual rage. It was more like being so angry that you don't really want to try and be angry even. So I just turned off the console, put it away, and went to sleep. And the next day I did beat the boss. And all of a sudden, because of the repetition of trying to beat this boss, all the controls were right in my fingers. And all of a sudden, I could do anything and be anyone. And I felt like a hero. luckily for me, I found the same sort of satisfaction in the work that I do now. In the videos that I create for you guys and for others. Documentaries that I shoot. Corporate stories that I tell. You know, because of years of practice, the camera does feel like an extension of myself in a way. And I can really let my experience guide me and use that to shape a story structure out of the mess that is regular life. And it is very, very satisfying. It's also the reason that editing is my favorite part of making a movie. Because once you're done shooting real life and interacting with everybody, you can go back to the edit room and create a whole new story out of the elements that you've captured. And that went pretty far as well. At a certain point, I had shot a little documentary about a skateboarder in Los Angeles. And the day the movie, the documentary, the short, was finished, he came over to watch the end result. And I had heard him say pre-recorded lines for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So I knew exactly what he would say and how he would say it in the reality that was my edit. And suddenly this real character stood before me and started saying things that I'd never heard him say before. And it was so strange. Almost like a creation of mine had come to life. Does that mean I'm a workaholic? I don't know. I think at least it means that I enjoy being sucked up in a world that I can create for myself. And in this case, it's a world that I can share with you guys. A world of making problems and trying to fix them. Isn't that fun? It's fun for me. I hope it's fun for you guys. We're doing a really good job here, guys. You're untangling experts. Yeah, but it's true what I said. It can feel messy. It can feel like the things you're dealing with are unfixable. And that especially applies to people who are dealing with mental health issues. And I am by no means an expert, and I want to encourage you to seek out the help of a professional if you haven't already. If you do come to my videos to watch them for comfort, because what I'm doing here is not permanent. It's a little escape from reality in a way, and that's totally, totally fine. Just don't treat it as if it ends here, This is the first step in trying to untangle a mess that you're in. Here we have a little setback. Could you imagine what it would be like to untangle earbuds this long in public transport? People would be looking at you like you're crazy. Here we have another little mess. Alright, there we go. I found the end of our string. Look at that. Okay. Oh, this is going well. This was a better knot than the first one. Because of the time and energy spent making the problem, I think. And what does that teach us? That we are our own biggest obstacle, because we create most of the problems we try to fix. Not saying that you shouldn't make mistakes. Not at all. Making mistakes is what life is all about. You encounter something unfamiliar, you make a choice, and sometimes it's the wrong choice. And then you know how and when to make the right choice. And that means getting a lot of experience dealing with problems. And in the end of the day, forgiving yourself for the mistakes that you did make, because they were all part of a learning curve. And then try not making the same mistakes again. There we go. Alright, and on that note, I'd like to say goodbye to you. And until the next video.